Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in the previous tutorial we discussed about the important files that comes when we create our project using the boilerplate code, and then I explained about each and every important files and the folders, and how we basically what is the development process, like how we commit it and how it basically runs some kind of checks using GitHub Actions, and then how you can basically create a fav icon for your website. So that's I discussed in the previous video. In today's video, we will be discussing about everything about blogs. So blog, as I explained in the previous videos also, you can think of blog as a component in AEM, like whatever, like we used to create a component in AEM for the functionalities, right? Similarly, blocks are there in EDS. And by default, like we'll discuss about the authoring experience also. I think we already discussed that, but I can show you again. So normally, like we to author the blocks, right? We create a table, like and then the first row basically contains the heading or the name of the block, and then we can have row and columns, basically next row and columns, which can contain data that can be rendered on the page for that particular block. So a simple block can have just one row and then one column, and how it basically rendered on the page, like for each row there will be one div, and inside each row, how whatever the number of cell are there, there will be a nested div for each columns. So suppose for example, this is just a simple block markup example. So this there will be like this block div, and there will be one more div on top of that, that is called the wrapper div for each and every block. And there will be like this first div is basically for the row, and this div is basically for the column or cell. If there are more than one column, there you will have more divs inside the row divs, and if there are more rows, this basically this div will get repeated. Okay, so that is the simple markup, and that basically formed out of box. Even like even if you have not created any block in the code, right? You just authored it. Out of box also EDS will create this kind of markup. What I'm trying to say, let me basically go to um, my page and do some authoring here. So for example, let me uh, let me create a new table here just to make it simple, okay? And what I can do, I can even create a new section also. So you remember we need to give these three hyphen to create a new section, and then I can basically what I can do, I can insert a new table here, and what I can choose like two columns and two rows, and first row is for the like heading of the block. So I can what I can do, I can merge this, merge cell, okay, and then I'll give just any name, for example training. There's no block like that in my code. I will show you that also. And so now these are our columns. So what I can have some content here, maybe row R1 C1, okay, and R1 C2. You can have any other content also, like you can have images, right, or any other content. And then R2, C1, R2, C2. And if I just publish, so just preview this, right? Before publish, we need to preview. I can show you the markup there itself. And if I go down, you can see it is rendered here. And if I inspect this, first of all, there should be a new section. So you can see a new section has been created because we added those three dotted hyphen basically. And that section basically whatever the component that section particular section contain, it basically create add this container class for those components. If there are multiple components, it will add multiple classes. So right now, just training block, sorry, I called block as a component, but you understood what I was trying to say. If there are multiple blocks, it will add multiple classes. And if I go inside, this is I just mentioned. So this is for each block, it will add this default wrapper and with the class like block name hyphen wrapper, and this is our block div. And you can see there are like divs for this div is for basically for first row, this div is for second row, and inside first row div there are two divs for each column. So this is how your out of box also like it get rendered. I also had this confusion initially. I thought maybe if you are adding any block, it should be present in the code, but it's not like that. Automatically, it's rendering. It's okay, and I can show you there's no training block like that in my code. Okay. And one more thing that happens, like if you remember in AEM, there's a concept of styling. Uh, Basically, suppose for a component, if there are multiple variation, for example, suppose there's a teaser component, can have a like simple image variation. It can be have like image on left and the text on right, image on right, text on left, or image on top or text on the bottom, all those kind of variations. So basically it's the same component, just through styling we are getting different you can say version of it. Different it is rendering differently, or it is handled through CSS like because when you choose a different style it add a different CSS, and through that we are controlling the how layout of that teaser. The same kind of thing can be done here. Suppose if you want to have a little bit variation for any particular block and you don't want to create a new block altogether for those variation, and if it can be handled through CSS, what you can do, you can add that option here. So basically you need to, in the parentheses, you need to give some name that can be used as a CSS class. So maybe I can just mention sample here. Okay. So this is called block options. Basically, if you provide any thing inside the parentheses, it will be added as an extra class. So I'll show you that. So right now, if you see, there's nothing like here, like there's no sample class added here. But if I just preview it again, and if we see that block, you can see there's this sample class is added. So that's where you can control the layout or styling for any for a different variation of a block. Okay, so that's how you do it. And now coming to the coding part of block, suppose you want to uh, create a block, right, which has additional functionality also. Like by default, it is rendered in a nested diff for each row and column. But suppose you want to add additional functionality, so for that, an additional styling also. Even suppose you don't want to add any additional functionality, but definitely you will be needing some kind of styling, right? Because right now it comes just stacked vertically like this. So there's no styling here. So for that, you need to create a block inside your blocks. And as we discussed in the previous video also, to create a block, you need to basically give the same name, use the same name as the same name of the folder as your block name. So basically, your folder name should be same as your block name, and basically the same that you have used while authoring. So while authoring, the case can be different. Like you, maybe in the or while authoring, you have given a capital. You started with the capital letter, and here while coding, or you were giving the folder name as small, starting with the small letter. That is fine. That's not an issue. Okay. And inside each block folder, there will be two files. One is for CSS and one is for JS, and it should also have the same name. And because I've shown in the previous tutorial how it is loaded by block loader and how it starts basically use the block name to find out the CSS and JSS class. So this is the sample, like I have not created any extra block. I'm just using this, but similarly, you can create your custom block also. So this is the column block, and I'll just open this. What I can do, I can open this index page here. Okay, so to explain this thing. So if I go to the column block here, so what it is doing right now in the code, basically, I'll just what happens, like you basically for each row, like this, you can access each row of your document, like block.children. So, and for each row, you can access your column. And here, all the if you want to add any custom code, that you can add. So that's how you can access your row and column for your block that you have authored in the document. So if I just explore, and I mentioned this default function decorate that you need to create for your blocks, basically that will be called by a block loader to basically render your block. So here for the column block, what it is doing, right, is just checking how many columns are there in your first row. And based on that, it is based on your column length, it is adding this custom class in your block. Okay, if I show you here, if you see here, it is adding column. Then there are basically, if I show you the authoring here, there are just two column here, right? So that's why it is two here as per the code. Column to calls. So this class, column, then length is 2 and calls. It is adding this at the block level. Then it is rendering for each. What it is doing basically, it's going to each and every cell and it's checking if that cell contains picture, basically any image. Then it is adding this extra class in the wrapper div, okay. For example, if I show you, go here, so if I this is basically for the rows, and if you see, there are two rows, two columns in each row. So one contains picture, so you can see here, for that it is adding extra image. So that's how basically you can make changes to the existing blocks, or what you can create your custom blocks also, and then write a simple logic to render your blocks. And for styling, you need to make changes in the CSS. Okay, so that's it about the block development, block authoring, and I'll come up with the next topic in the upcoming tutorial. Thanks for watching this. If you like my content, please like, share, and subscribe my channel. Thank you.